Welcome, and thanks for listening to On Air with Adriel. Welcome to another edition of On Air with Adriel. I have three special guests in the studio here today, and I'm going to introduce, first of all, Todd Haynes, the CEO. Todd, good to see you.
Good to see you, Max.
Hey, thanks for being here. You brought a couple of special ladies along with you today. Tell us who they are, please.
I did. I brought Jacquie Linville, who's going to talk more about our foster care work, specifically with the parents, and Rhonda Peterson is going to talk more directly to the ways that we support our foster parents. And Max, I just have to say thank you for allowing us to be a part of your broadcast and doing this work and getting the message out. We can't do our work without people stepping forward and helping us. It does take a village, and we appreciate what you're doing for us and helping us out that way.
Well, we really love it, and this is a passion project. So I want to start by introducing here our first guest, Jacquie Linville. Jacquie, first of all, tell us, where are you from?
I live in Delaware, Ohio, so I've been working with Adriel for 23 years now.
All right, fantastic. And what is your position with Adriel?
I'm the Vice President of Family Support Services.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. I also want to introduce another one of our guests here this morning. She is Rhonda Peterson, and you made a rather long drive to the studio as well. Tell us where you're from.
I came from the huge city of Sydney, which is halfway between Lima and Dayton.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome. It's great to have you here. And you are the Director of Foster Care Placement and Compliance, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Tell us about that a little bit, if you would.
So when a foster child comes into care, we have our foster homes that take care of them, and I have consultants that are kind of like the case managers. So we have oversight with our two managers in each region, and then we have our consultants, and I kind of oversee that program.
All right, terrific. So let's talk a little bit about making a good match, because this isn't just happenstance. There's a lot that goes into this. And Jacquie, maybe you could talk about the process by which this happens.
Absolutely. So we receive referrals from we could receive referrals from all 88 counties in Ohio. And a referral comes into us with a need for placement of a child or maybe a sibling group. And we review that. We've got an admissions team that will review that, go over our openings. So, we've got 160 foster homes throughout Ohio. Look at where, what the need of the child is. Is there a need of a certain place within the state that the child needs placed? Just the needs of the home. And then we look to see what we've got. If we've got foster parents that match that need. And then we give that call. And so we call the foster parent, go over the referral with them, see if they would be interested in placement. A lot of times they've got further questions, and so we need to go back to the referring agency and get those questions answered. And, hopefully we're able to find a great match and make a placement.
Every child is different, so the need for each one of these children varies.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of communication and research that goes into knowing the child and the needs, but also the home which they're going to be placed
Absolutely.
in. This takes a lot of folks. Let's talk about the team, because you have a lot of people that are on board with this. Talk about that process a little, if you would.
So our foster care department, like I said, we've got an admissions team, so they're the ones that are receiving those referrals.
Okay.
And then we've got foster care consultants, and those are the support to our foster parents. So those are those workers that are going in, supporting our foster parents, making those contacts, making sure that the kids are receiving all the needs that they have. And then I think Rhonda spoke, we've got two managers. We've got regional managers that oversee those consultants. And then we've got other departments that also, support. I know that you've already spoke to Jeff Sloat, who is the clinical VP. And so we've got different departments that also support our foster parents.
You know, Max, as a former foster parent, one thing that has never changed with Adriel is the importance of making that match. And one of the questions that I had when I became a foster parent is, how is that match made? And there's a lot of information about the child. There's a lot of information about the family that we're talking to about that child. And there is an equal part of, does it meet your match goals, and does it meet the child's match goals? So there's no forced phone call, you're going to get a placement, and they're going to arrive at your home. There's really a huge discussion about what would feel comfortable, what would be appropriate, how would you feel about this particular placement. There is a match made. It's not you're next on the list and you're going to get the assignment of a child. There is a match to find the skills of the parent, the needs of the child, and blend that together and bring them together as a match. I just wanted to bring that in because that's a huge part of our work, and I think Rhonda has some things to say about that as well.
Yeah, just to further expound on that, because he's absolutely right. When we have families, they could be family level with maybe very little experience, and so we're going to place a family level child with them that doesn't have those higher level of needs. But we also have foster parents who have a great deal of medical experience, and so they could take those medically needy children who may just need a G-tube, and they can handle that because they've been trained in that. That's not for everybody, but there's a child that we can match with just about everybody, that we have. That's why we need so many foster care parents.
What's the need like right now? Because I think for people who are out there going, okay, well, this is really interesting, and maybe they feel called to it. Tell us about the need, if you could.
Well, we have about 15,000 kids in care right now in Ohio, foster care.
Wow.
We have about 160 foster parents. So you can see the need is great. We always need new foster parents. Some of our foster parents do end up adopting. They take sibling groups, and so they physically run out of room. So we're constantly needing new foster homes.
You and I had a little conversation before we were on the air here about sibling groups. Let's drill down on that just a little bit, because you were asking me some questions about my children and grandchildren, how many there were, and you asked that with a purpose in mind. Let's talk about it a little bit.
So we often get sibling groups in care. It's not normally, it does happen that we get one or two, but so many times we get large sibling groups. And just imagine your own children, if you have a sibling group, and trying to have somebody else decide where those children go. We need foster homes that will take a large sibling group, take a small sibling group. Otherwise, we're forced with trying to find parents that might know each other that we could split and put two children here and one or two here. And that's horrific for those foster children because they're already losing so much, they at least want to keep their siblings intact.
What Rhonda just described is so important to keep families together, and we will talk more about reunification and trying to bring families back together. But there's the geographic issue as well, and Jackie mentioned at the beginning, perhaps keeping them in the same school district, keeping something that's familiar to them when everything else is being changed. So one day they're living with their family, the next day they're in an entirely new home, new family, everything that's familiar has been ripped away from them, and that's the importance of a foster care to make them feel welcome and make them feel a part of the family. But if we can keep some things the same, like their school district, like their church, like their community, that's important. And so not only are we looking for families that can take medically needy children or medical issues or behavioral issues, we're looking for families all over the state of Ohio that can keep some elements of this child's life intact, the geographic issue. So I wanted to bring that up too. We don't need families in one particular place. We need families every place in Ohio.
That's fantastic. So one of the things I've learned about Adriel is that you offer multiple pathways to permanency and healing. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Our kids will come into care. They're served through our foster parents and our staff. And then that's not permanency. So foster care by nature is temporary. And so there's definitely different ways, a child's life might go after foster care. So they may be reunified with their parents. They may go into a kinship care arrangement. So, someone who's familiar, it might be an extended family member, it might be a close family friend to their biological parents, or neither of those might be options. And maybe they become or come to be in permanent custody, and then they're adopted. Many of I would say probably over 90% of our foster homes are also approved to adopt. So high percentage. And so last year we had 26 children adopted by our foster parents.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then we have a small number of youth that might emancipate. So they turn 18, they graduate high school, and they emancipate from care.
Okay. Well, Rhonda, one of the things you'd also mentioned earlier to me was this thing of support, and there are different ways to get involved to support. Let's talk about some of those, if you would, please.
Yes, not everybody has to be a foster parent to support our agency. There's gathering supplies that families may need. When a brand new placement comes, they have to, get medicals and things. And so providing a meal for a family, you could have freezer meals, ready to go, and get in touch with us, and we can, give those to families that are running around and taking children. So just supporting them in that way. There are things like running errands or doing transportation for visitation could alleviate the foster family and leave them more time to do supervision with others and things like that. So that's always a great way to help. An alternate caregiver. So somebody who, kind of like a babysitter, but is also ready and can be willing to help with times of need, whether a foster parent needs to go to the hospital or something like that, short term, is also a great way. We are faith-based, and we believe that prayers really do help, and so we do earnestly seek prayers for our agency, for those that are making decisions. That's a great way to support us. Inviting a family over and hosting them for a play date. Some of our kids have never had a play date. So doing simple things like that could really go a long way. And then welcoming a new child, delivering a gift or an activity to a family so they could have that for that week of placement and just make it smooth. Those are some ways that I can think of, and if I miss something.
Max, as a foster parent, I received my foster placement, and my community, I lived in a subdivision, really helped and supported. I remember the first day that my foster son was invited to a birthday party just down the street. That hadn't happened before, but it made him feel a part of the community and a part of that neighborhood. And of course, that helped in school because he got to know some of the neighbors, and that it was just such a welcoming and inviting experience. And the other thing I would say, Rhonda mentioned, helping with transportation or being an alternate care provider. I was full-time employed, and the bus would arrive at my house about 15 minutes before I could get home, and my neighbor became an alternate care provider. They were a bit older, maybe grandparents' age, and they took on that ability to meet the bus, walk him to the house, get some milk and cookies, and have just a great time with him as grandparent age and a child before I got home. And that alternate care provider, that was really life impacting for me to see that a neighbor would step up and help in that way.
Fantastic. Well, our time gets away so quickly here. I want to thank all of you, first of all, for being here today. For folks who would like some more information, Todd, what would be the best way to go about that?
Our website has just probably the most valuable information for people that want to do this. So www.adriel.org, www.adriel.org. And as we mentioned before, pray for us, become involved, get your hands dirty. And if you're not in that position, but you have the ability to financially support us, we are always able to translate those donations into ways to help children. So again, Max, thanks for your ability to let us be a part of this.
This is On Air with Adriel. We want to thank our special guests today, Todd Haynes, also Jacquie Linville, and Rhonda Peterson for being here. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you. Thank you for listening to On Air with Adriel. For more information, please go to our website, adriel.org. That's ADRIEL.org.